Hey everyone, it's Kaylee here, and today I'm sharing a layout and process video for day 12 of my Scraplift a Day series here on YouTube. I've added the link to Rebecca's Instagram in the description below. She's going to be joining me each day over on Instagram, so please do go and check out her layout. Now today's lift is in the top right hand corner, and I've also added the link in the description below so you can go and check it out and scrap lift yourself if you wish. If you do scrap lift any of the layouts that I show this month, then please do tag me on social media because I'd love to see what you've created. Now I could not wait to do today's lift. It's definitely one that I've been kind of eyeing up over the days, and I couldn't wait to do this one because I absolutely love the design and I don't think I've done anything like this before. I decided to pull out the These Days collection by Cocoa Vanilla. I'm absolutely loving working with this collection. It's so pretty, and I knew that it had the pattern paper with the frames on, so I fussy cut out some frames and I picked out some photos of my daughter Darcy and my niece Millie, and these were taken last year, so they're more recent photos, and it's just the girls being silly, and I was snapping away whilst they were pulling silly faces and they was laughing their little heads off, and I just think it's a really cute group of photos of the girls. There's only a year between them in age. I think it's like a year and 3 days or 5 days, I think, something like that. But there's only a year between them. But Millie, my niece, is so much taller than Darcy, who's very tiny. Darcy's very short for her age, where my niece Millie is quite tall for her age. So there is a big difference between them that way. But they do get along very well when they're together, and it's lovely to see them playing together, and I'm so glad that I captured these photos because it's just of them being them, and I love it, absolutely love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back two of the frames with two of the photos, kind of taking into account like the placement of the florals that are on the frames, because I didn't want to cover up any of their faces, so I was taking that into account when I was backing the frames. And then the third frame, I'm going to use a 2x2 photo, which is a bit more of a close-up of the girls' faces, and I took that in the frame rather than backing the frame with the photo. So now I'm going to layer in some pattern paper scraps. I've made a couple of layouts now with this collection, so I do have some scraps left. So I'm going to just layer in some scraps and just figure out what's going to work for me with regards to the papers at the top. I did think I was going to use this grey and white heart. It was like a border strip from the cutter part, but I don't end up going with that in the end, and I do switch it out for a wood grain, just a wood grain instead, to match the border that I've added to the back. There was the border on the original was kind of like wonky. And I really loved the look of it when I saw the layout, but when I came to trying to do it myself, it just didn't look right. And I think it's quite possibly because I scrap in A4, and obviously the original layout is a 12x12 layout, and I think the fact that mine isn't square, it just looked like I'd made a mistake and it didn't look quite right. So I've decided on the rainbow stripe pattern paper, this floral pattern paper, and the kind of minty polka dot pattern paper for my banners, and then I've got that wood grain running along the top. So now I'm going to start having a look through some embellishments, and I'm going to get things in place where I want them to go. Nothing stuck down because I do want to pull in some mixed media, but at this point I wasn't quite sure if I was going to or not. I've mentioned before in many of my videos how mixed media isn't my strong point at all. I like to have a go, but I never like how it turns out when I do it, but I love the look of it on other people's layouts. So I do decide to give it a go on this one. I thought if it goes wrong, nothing has been stuck down. I can just replace the cardstock if it doesn't look right. But I'm actually really pleased with it. So I'll come to that to the mixed media shortly. But I'm going to just get everything ready. So then it's just a case of sticking everything down once I do the mixed media. So I'm having a look through the die cuts. I've got the florals. I've also got the icons. I've pulled in some florals to create quite a big cluster of florals up at the top. And I'm just kind of pulling in a few little bits. Obviously, my frames are already kind of embellished with the florals already on there. So I don't want to end up over-embellishing. I only want to bring in a few little things just to add to the frames. So I do find this word strip, which was from one of the cutter parts, which says loving every moment, and I thought that worked really well with these photos and the story of this page. I'm still flicking through some of those die cuts to see if there's anything else I'd like to pull in. I don't think I pull anything else in from this die cut pack. I think some of them are, they're a little bit too big. I needed, I think, more little things for this page because the frames already embellish the page themselves. And then obviously I've got the pattern papers and the florals up at the top. So I do decide to go for kind of smaller icons on this layout. So I do bring in a heart, and I'm going to put that above the first photo. On this second frame, I'm going to come in with the wood buttons, and I'm going to add one of those to the florals, and I think that was the perfect embellishment just to add in that corner. And it has a little yellow butterfly on. I thought that was really pretty. I do switch out the heart for a pink one instead, because the colour that I'd put on there just didn't look right. I needed pink. I needed some pink in that area. And then for the bottom photo, I have obviously tucked in the photo so that the florals are overlapping the corner. I do bring in a puffy word sticker which says beautiful, and I thought that was really funny because my niece Millie is pulling the most silly face. But she's still beautiful anyway. I do add a puffy house at the top, but towards the end of this layout, I do switch it out. But at the moment, I am going to go with the puffy house, but I do switch it out. And then at the bottom, I am going to bring in another floral, and I'm going to tuck that underneath the photograph. And then I'm going to also bring in one of the butterfly die cuts as well. But this layer, actually, even though I feel like it looks like it's got a lot going on, it did come together really, really quickly, and it's definitely another one of my favourites for this month. I just love this collection. I love these photos. I love this design. I think it's such a fun one. It's so different as well. It's not something, it's not just kind of your average layout that you kind of see online, with some strips of pattern paper and a couple of embellishments. It's got something else going on, and I really like that. I like that kind of style of scrapping. I like when there's kind of different areas on the page, so it kind of brings your eye all around the page, and I love that. So here I am doing some mixed media, and as you can see, I am not a professional in any way. I've just used my acrylic block, the one that you use for stamping, and I used one of my distress oxides, and that's in scattered straw, and I just added a little bit of water to it, and then used my acrylic block to kind of do the packaging technique. And I only created a small area because I knew that it was just a case I wanted it to just kind of peek out like it had done on the original layout. I didn't want to go too heavy with the mixed media that it overtakes the page. I just wanted that little pop of yellow behind these frames, and then a little bit up near the floral clusters as well. And I really love how that turned out. And I also added some splatters using my Jen Hadfield gold mist as well. I thought the gold worked really well with the yellow and worked really well with this collection. So now I'm bringing everything back in, and I'm going to start sticking down my embellishments and my papers. As you can see, I kind of just pushed it up to the top of my desk whilst I was doing the mixed media, so that it made it easy then just to bring it back down onto my page when I was ready to start sticking everything down. So I'm going to stick down my photos first, and then I will go to my cluster at the top and stick those down. I do cut my pattern papers into little banner pieces like on the original layout, and I do tear my strip of pattern paper that runs along the top. So everything is now stuck down, and I'm just going to come in now with a few finishing details just to finish off my clusters and the embellishing around my photos. So I bring in some of the puffy hearts and add those in a couple of places throughout the layout. And I think this might be, no, I don't think I do it quite yet. I do bring in another puffy word sticker, and I will switch out the puffy house for a bike instead. And the reason I did that is because I thought I can use a house on more or less any layout with any photos. But these photos are outside, so I felt like a bike would work well with some outdoor photos, even though they wasn't actually riding a bike, but I just thought it worked well with the outdoorsy photos. So now I'm going to come in with my title, and I'm going to title this page Crazy Girls, because they are being silly, they're pulling silly faces, they're swinging on the railings of my house, and they're just laughing their heads off. And I just think that title works very well for these girls, definitely. They are both silly, and they do make me laugh so much, and when they're together they seem to kind of bounce off each other, and I really like that they've got that kind of relationship. It's really nice to see. I mean, my kids are so lucky. They've got so many cousins, and they're all quite close in age, so they're really good friends, and I think that's an amazing way to grow up, definitely. So my title is now all finished. I think I'm just kind of messing about with it, shifting it around, which I will cut off because it did take me a while just to get those letters in place. And then I'm going to finish off with some more gold splatters using my Jen Hadfield Gold Mist, because I did cover most of those up once I added everything back down. So here's my finished page. I really love how this turned out, and it's definitely another one of my favourites this month. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another lift.